Well, Eric Roberts is an Academy Award nominated actor who's appeared in over 600 films and TV shows. And some of the most notable include recent Oscar nominee Babylon, The Righteous Gemstones, The Dark Knight, The Expendables, and so many more. And we're going to talk about some of the roles he's had, the people he's worked with, advice and wisdom that he has, being in an entertainment family, and so much more. His wife, Eliza, who's also in the business, will pop in for some things too. Great stuff coming right up. Yeah, well, I wanted to start off, actually, I wanted to give you a compliment. You're going to love this. And this is not about your acting, although obviously you're a great actor, but your social media, your Instagram. I found it very inspiring in the sense that it was so genuine, because you're not about pumping yourself up. You're all about, hey, check out my sister-in-law's bracelets. Check out my stepson's music. Check out my wife's acting. Everything is about, trying to share other people's things. I thought that was really cool.
Well, don't get me wrong. I am one of my three biggest fans, but I have all these relatives that are really brilliant people, and I want everybody to know it. And that's all it is to it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just thought that was really neat because, you could tell that it's really you running it. It's just very genuine. So I thought that was really cool.
That is so nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm looking at, obviously, a lot of the interviews you've done, people brought this up, but you've done so many films and TV shows. And I was just trying to figure out the math with some of this stuff because, so you said, I think I heard you say that it only takes, sometimes you're only there for a day if it's a supporting role. Is that right?
That's true. Since digital, I do like 20 pages in a day.
Okay, so like with a leading role, how long does that take? How much prep work do you have to do? Then the actual shooting, and then is there reshoots or press for the films, or how does that work?
It's always different. It all depends on the budget. All depends on the time frame. All depends on everything. All depends on the distribution house. It depends on everything. It's always different. And sometimes you hang on by the skin of your teeth, and sometimes you have everything you could even think about. So it all depends on the situation, and it's always different.
So in a typical week, how many hours are you working, like doing films and prep work and all that stuff?
On a light week, I'm working 50 hours. On a heavy week, I'm working a lot of hours.
And you love that, though. That's your choice. That's what you like to do.
I have the best job on the planet. I've seen the planet. I have the best job there is. I know that. They pay me to come do it. I have fun. I've seen the world a couple of times for free. And I got a wife who's watching my back. I have a great life.
Can I pop in? I'm going to pop in.
Yeah, come on in.
Great subjects, really fun and really and inspiring. So everything that you ask kind of ties into each other. For instance, part of the reason that Eric is so, this is the era of influencers.
Mm-hmm.
And, some acknowledge being paid. Some things you're not paid for. It's an exchange or whatever. But Dolce & Gabbana might pay you a lot of money to carry their purse, or is it purses that they make, whatever they make. Anyway, but I think that we do have a natural inclination to want to spread the word about things that we really are genuinely excited about. So the fact that no one is really coming to us to have us be influencers gives us the freedom to just, shout it out to the world and hope that a few people pick up on it. You never know how many of your listeners or your watchers are actually active. But it's the same thing with the working also, because we are still kind of connected to the time when all we wanted was a job as an actor. Mm-hmm. I mean, for Eric, that it all started really young, but he is still somewhere in there. The same guy who was so excited to get the news you got the part about King of the Gypsies, let's say.
Yeah.
And so now when jobs come, even if it's more than one job in a day, if it's like, can you do this? It'll only take 3 hours in the morning. Oh, we have something else that's going to take 3 hours in the afternoon. But the truth is that's the only day they can shoot. Yes. Because you're still so amazed and grateful that there's incoming work and that people want you to do what you do. And you want them to want the people you believe in to do what they do. So it's kind of staying at the beginning And I think that's what makes it a beautiful romance with our careers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and it wasn't your idea. Like you kind of put this idea in his head that the power of giving. Because let's be honest, I mean, a lot of these roles, like Eric is doing them a favor more than they're doing him a favor. Like he's lending his name and likeness to this low budget film that's going to help the film because his name is on it.
Right. Yeah. And there's something about that. I mean, we always say when in doubt, give. Like I'm somebody who I've never even tried alcohol or cigarettes or drugs or anything, terrified of all that stuff. And, we have so many friends who have used all kinds of very self-destructive and destructive solutions to just the stresses of life. For us, we found one that's really, there's no chemicals involved. Just do something for somebody and it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
And, then you can deal with your problems afterwards, but it's a high.
That is a lesson that she instilled in me that does work. When in give, you'll feel better.
Okay, I'm gonna step out again because I'm right here if you need me. But
no, I love that stuff. But also, you're also getting these big roles too. Talk about you were just in the movie Babylon, which was nominated for an Oscar. How did they send you that part? Did you have to audition, or did they just say, "Hey, we've got this part written for you specifically"?
That lovely man, Damien Giselle, said, "Want to play this part in my movie?" And I said, "Of course I do." And that was kind of the long and short of it. Yeah.
Did you get to watch that film? Because especially the beginning of that is so crazy. Like with the Hollywood back in the 1920s, whatever it was.
I was disappointed because of the 44 years I've been making movies. I have never had anything end up on the editing room floor. And my whole storyline with that incredible actor ended up on the editing room floor. She was just so incredible. Margot was so perfect, and we had great scenes together and great storylines, great story things, and we didn't see any of them. And I felt bad because I wanted to see them, and I liked my work. I loved her work, and I loved our work at the same scenes together. And so I was disappointed from a very selfish end of things. It was a fun movie to watch. I enjoyed watching it, but it's fun to watch like Fellini's fun to watch. You either have a taste for it or you don't.
Mm-hmm. So maybe would it be on the Blu-ray or the DVD or whatever, the deleted scenes or something like that?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it would be. I hope. Then you could watch it.
My wife says, yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay, cool. We'll have to check that out. So then, since that's nominated for an Oscar, do you get an invite to the Oscars, or how does that work? Because you've been nominated before. You get a lifetime ticket after you've been nominated once, or how does that work?
You actually do. After you've been a nominee and or a winner, you can always go. But no, I would only go to the Oscars because it's such a night and such an extravaganza and such a look at me. I would only go if I were nominated, and because otherwise it's just too much. Come on. And
really, you don't like the networking and be able to see all the you must know a lot of those people there, all the connections you made.
And I've been in this industry a long time. They all know my name. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about because you have so many movies upcoming? I think one of them though that I saw that's coming out is called Sweetwater. It's got like an all-star cast: Kevin Pollak and Jeremy Piven, Richard Dreyfuss. Talk about that one.
About the basketball player.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a piece of Americana that's about us coming together as a society, and it's just a great piece. And of course, it's got all those actors who know how to make you cry, and it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to hang out with Kevin Pollak at all? Like he does a lot of impersonations. Did you hear any of his impersonations?
We know each other. We've
okay.
Eliza, how many times did Kevin Pollak and I work together?
I don't know, but he was a blast on the set, and it was really.
Oh, he's always funny as can be, and he's always doing somebody. And he's bright, he's funny, he's talented, he's a good buddy.
Does he do an impersonation of you ever?
Not to me, but I've
Dice Clay does.
Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay does. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's great. That's a good one.
I love that one. It's so flattering, man.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about a lot of the films that you've done. We can't go through all of them, but one of my favorites, this is like, to me, it's like your best role, and it's only like 15 seconds, but your cameo in The Cable Guy.
Oh,
It's
thank
so
you.
amazing. Tell me about that. Was it your idea to play the characters like that, or did Ben Stiller direct you to do it that way?
Eliza, come tell the story.
Okay, here's what happened. So Ben Stiller's whole family is family friends with my family. Ann Miro was my mom's writing and producing partner, starred in a lot of things that my mom wrote. And we went to one of the events that we kind of hate that you were mentioning that sound fun to other people.
Okay.
And Ben was there. And I've known him since he was a little kid and since he did House of Blue Leaves. And he was putting together a cable guy. And Eric always says, kind of jokingly, but he's also serious, "Hey, what part do you have for me?" And Ben said, "Actually, I was going to have Matthew Perry play himself, but forget it. I'll just have you do it." But you'll have to play two of you.
That's how it happened.
And Eric was like, "Well, I don't want to take anything away from Matthew Perry." And he's like, No, it's fine. Don't Matthew Perry's doing is great.
Yeah, that's a real conversation, by the way.
And then suddenly Eric was doing Cable Guy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny because that was at the height of his success with Friends or whatever. Like he was a big star, but I don't think it would.
He's a big star. He's one of the biggest stars of the 20th century, even though we're in the 21st. He's a huge star.
I mean, who knows? Who knows if they'd ever really even talked about it? Who knows if maybe they asked Perry and he said, "No, thank you," or he was doing something else. And then they came to Eric, but they didn't want to say that.
Right.
I mean, whatever. It was just one of those things. It was so fun.
Right. But so you came up with the character ideas, or Ben Stiller said, "Okay, you're going to do this and do that," and then you just did it?
It's all Ben. Ben's my leader, and I follow Ben.
Yeah, God, he's like a comedic genius. I feel like that film is so underrated. I feel like Ben Stiller's a great comedic director and actor.
Yep.
100%.
You're so right, dude.
We agree.
Yep.
What about you worked with John Waters? He is so funny too. I've seen him in interviews. I love his movies. Maybe not a lot of people know about him, but I think he's a genius too. You did Cecil B. Demented?
He is what you think he is. He is that. What he presents is what he is. And that's how he comes to you. That's how he deals with you. That's how he directs you. That's how he is.
And he sends us a holiday card every year. And his holiday cards are as brilliant as his movies and very warm. He was a really good guy and so creative. That was exciting.
Yeah.
That's fun. Do you like working with people that kind of direct you and show you what to do more, or do you like it better when you can kind of play the role how you want to do it?
I look at myself as a director's dream. I like to show up and say, "What do you want to see?" And have them say, "I want to see A, B, C, Q, R, and T." And go, "Okay." And go do A, B, C, Q, R, and T for them and say, "Wasn't that good?" That's what I like doing. Sometimes, though, you get directors, you say, "What do you want to see?" And they don't know yet, or they say, "Just surprise me," or whatever it is. And you will hopefully have done enough homework that it's not a big deal. You just go about your business and just do it because you're on your own. And that happens half the time. And but half the time they'd love to tell you what to do. And that's where I like acting best. I like people. Yeah. I have a joke. She's out of the room right now, but I have a joke. Say, I love to be told what to do. Ask my wife. Yeah, but yeah, I like director who tells me what to do. I want to see this, this, and this, and this. Don't go here. Go here real heavy for me. Don't go here. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, got it. Thanks. It's like a game plan, or like in the huddle at a football game. He like tells me the game plan, and I go, "Ready, shoot," and I just love it.
That's fun. So I think one of the movies that I heard you talking about, a role that you were really proud of was Civilization of Maxwell Bright with Patrick Warburton. Talk about that role. How did you prepare for that one?
It's one of the half a dozen hardest parts I've ever played. And I only played it because I thought, can I do this? And I said to my wife, "Can I do this?" And my wife said, "I don't know. This is a hard one." And I said, "You don't know either. Wow, that's really threatening." Anyway, that's kind of why I did it. And Patrick Warburton is brilliant. Oh my God, he gives a performance of a lifetime. And I play a friend of his who works for him, who is the opposite of him, the polar opposite. And but I work for him in a TV sales and repair shop. And You know, it's a piece I'm just very proud of, and I'm very proud of my pal Patrick.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. There's so many that you've done. Obviously, everyone's seen you in The Dark Knight, and talk about that role because that's brought you attention to younger viewers. Now people will little kids will recognize you. Say, hey, that's the guy from Batman.
What's brought me the most attention from kids are the music videos, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
And Akon, all those have brought the kids into 7-Eleven going, Mom, there he is. And that's what I get from those kids.
Yeah, those and the Killers. I think that's one of my favorite songs just of all time. That's a cool video too. You're in that one, Mariah Carey, and yeah, all these big music. Are you still doing the music videos too?
If they call and ask, the Killers was the first, and Mariah, Eliza, did I do 2 or 3 Mariahs? I don't know. I think I did 2. I did at least 2. I think I did 3. But anyway,
okay.
And she was very cool. Yeah. With her.
What about another movie you did, Hunt to Kill? I don't know if you remember this one. It was with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, I'm not a big wrestler fan. My brother's a huge wrestler fan, but that guy was like a big wrestler. You know, I don't know if people remember, he was bigger than The Rock. And then The Rock, really took off with the movie career and Stone Cold didn't. Do you think was he just really not into acting in movies, or what was the story there?
You'd have to ask him. I love the guy. We're buddies. We hang, we talk, we exchange secrets. We like each other. He's just a cool guy. He's really normal. He's not at all what his image is.
Oh, he does not chugging 2 beers when you hang out with him?
He's not at all insane. And he's just sweet as the day is long. And he's a cool cat. I love him, man.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool too. He's got a really cool wife.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear. I'll have to pass along to my brother. Another film I want to ask you about that you did, Inherent Vice, just because it was directed by P.T. Anderson, had an all-star cast. What was it like working with P.T. Anderson? How is he different from other directors? Because I'm assuming he's got to have a totally different style than the average director.
Well, he's very specific, and I've never gone through a day on a set like that, where I sat in the same place my last day of shooting. I sat in the same place all day, and I sat there from mid-morning to after tea time in the afternoon, so from 11 to like 5 in the same place. And we talk a little bit, he'd go away, we'd shoot. We talk a little bit, he'd go away, we'd shoot. And there were hours that would pass when I wouldn't see him or the cameraman, but I would just stay there. And it was one of the weirdest experiences of my life. And but I think what he was setting up for me, if I wanted to utilize it, was the loneliness and loneness of the end of this man's life. And so he's a cool cat, man. And
is he the most detailed director? I heard who's the star of Schindler's List was talking about working with Steven Spielberg, and how Spielberg was saying, okay, you're going to take a drag of the cigarette like this. I mean, he was directing like exactly how he's going to smoke the cigarette. Is that how P.T. Anderson was, or is there any directors you've had that are that detailed?
P.T. Anderson is one of those guys, but he doesn't do it in a way that's like an order. He does it in a way like it's like a thought he's giving you. Because he's a genius.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. That's amazing.
Yeah. And And I feel I didn't live up to what I should have lived up to play that part, but I don't think anybody could have. It was such an overwhelming presence.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what about with like working on, you've done a lot of TV work too, with like sitcoms, is that kind of more just fun? Because that's all about, I feel like, comedic timing. And you've done a lot of you had that Less Than Perfect, and you've done a lot of guest spots as well. Do you like the sitcom world?
I learned to like it. I was so scared of it at first that I was very bad at it. And that's not being humble. That's just a fact. I was bad. And I'm not used to being bad. So it was very humbling. And it wasn't fun. But then I got comfortable with it and I got okay. But it was not my genre. it's my wife's genre, and she loves it and would love me to do it, but I'm just not great at it. And but I've had some fun, what's King of Queens?
King of Queens, Drew Carey, Frasier. I mean, you did a bunch of them.
King of Queens was a fun show, man. That was a fun character. That's when I started really having fun doing comedy. Was King of Queens. And,
I love that. That's one of my favorites. Like that and Seinfeld, two of my favorite sitcoms.
Yeah, we all agree.
What about you did Entourage? I don't know if you remember that one. That's the show like with the guy has like literally an entourage of people. Is that realistic in Hollywood? Is there a lot of stars like that have kind of a gang of followers that people that drive them around, and, management and stuff?
You are so funny. I used to watch that show. I was a fan, and about the half a dozenth time they said my name on the show, I called my lawyer because he handles the writers on that show. And I said to my lawyer, Jeff, Jeff, if you're going to talk about me so much, have me on the damn show. I love that show. He says, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. And he does. They want you on the show, but they told me to ask you, will you sell shrooms? I said, yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So you played a drug dealer on that episode?
Hey, be kind, okay? I sold shrooms.
Yeah. Hey, my dad swears by shrooms. I'm not even joking. He is a conservative guy. He had a head injury. He did research. He goes, hey, I found out that if you take mushrooms, it can actually heal your brain. And he said a bunch of NHL players did it or something. So
it's really good for brain trauma. Yeah. And that is fact, not an opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. Microdosing, I guess.
What's that?
Microdosing, they call it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff. And then another show, obviously, that you're doing, The Righteous Gemstones. Talk about that one, because you said the creators of that show are geniuses. Like,
I could talk about that all day. That is my favorite job I've ever had, playing him. Excuse me. Yeah, that is my favorite job I've ever had across the boards. It was the character. It was how he got it. It was what he was, where we shot it, the scripts, the cast, Danny, all of it. It was perfect. It was my favorite job I ever had. And the way I got it was an open call. It was for casting. And my wife said, oh, that great show has an open call for blah, 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 and showed me the character. I said, I've always wanted to play that guy. I have that guy. I know that guy. I'm related to that guy. I want to audition. So we put it on tape. We sent it in, and Danny gave me the part. Simple as that. It was cool.
Wow, that's really good. Now, I haven't caught up to it in season 2. I haven't finished it, so I don't know. Can you come back in season 3, or is
I do not. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's still really cool that you were a part of that show. I'm really enjoying. I just getting into it,
dude.
Yeah, maybe they'll do another one too, because they did. Danny McBride did Vice Principals and Eastbound and Down. I love both of those shows too. So
yeah, everybody did.
Yeah.
What about champion?
Yeah. What is there other roles that you were up for that you didn't get? I've heard the story of Officer and a Gentleman. You turned down Cliffhanger, and then I heard the story of like you were given the script for Star Wars, and you turned that one. Those are 3 big ones. Is there other ones though?
I never heard the Star Wars thing except I think I didn't like that script. I don't really remember that, but whatever it was, they certainly didn't need me.
They did okay. Yeah, they did okay.
Yeah. And I never liked science fiction. And in my old age, I got wrapped up in the Doctor Who series, which is science fiction. But I was never a science fiction fan. So
yeah, what is your favorite genre to do? Because you've done it all.
Oh, crime dramas. I like crime dramas. I like mysteries. I like whodunits. I don't make enough of them. I love them. I love to be part of them. And I also like biographies. I like playing people that have lived. Like I want to play Nureyev, and I want to play people who have lived.
Oh, that makes sense. What about you've done some reality TV, did Hollywood Squares and the Bear Grylls show and all that. Do you like doing the reality, or is that more of a chore?
You do the game show kind of circuit, like Hollywood Square kind of stuff, or when you're on a series, because they want you to be seen by housewives. So you would do those shows. And when I was on Less Than Perfect, I did all the game shows and all the stuff like that. Hollywood Squares. It's kind of contractual, and and you learn to have fun with it after you make fun of yourself for a couple of episodes. You learn to have fun with it, because in the scheme of things, you remember as a kid you're watching those things at your grandparents' house, and you're thinking, wow. Even as a kid, thinking something was off about those shows. It wasn't quite what it was supposed to be, And so as you're growing up, it was odd to be on them, but it was a cycle of life that was fascinating for me.
Yeah. What about like doing those, Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Kimmel and Howard Stern, those kind of short interview forms versus now that you can do the longer podcast interviews? Talk about the differences. What do you enjoy more?
Well, you just talked about three totally different interviewers.
Yeah, true.
Completely different interviews. And Howard is a really hard, fun, weird, exhausting interview. And Conan is a very shallow and kind of adolescent. And who's he face?
Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel is cool. And Jimmy Kimmel is smart. And Jimmy Kimmel is either very personal or very business. And, Jimmy Kimmel runs an empire. And so, you get that feeling if you're on the show, of course.
So who is like the best person? Like if I, as an interviewer, if there's somebody I should watch or study, who should I look up to? Who's the best person that's interviewed you?
Oh, his interview? Oh, I don't know. Whew, that's a big question. And I'm gonna leave out a bunch of people if I name somebody. Oh hell, I don't know. Probably Sam Kashner. Is that Sam Kashner? The guy who interviewed me for Vanity Fair.
Oh, okay.
A little cool cat, little genius, and he asks you really unique questions. You think, wow, I've never been asked that before, like all the time. And he's just really cool, and he's really intense, but he's funny and he's smart. And he's probably my favorite interviewer I ever had. And
okay, I'll have to look that up. I'm not familiar with him. I like hearing stuff like that, though.
Because of him, because he had just done the Obama interview, which sold more magazines in the history of magazines, apparently. Anyway, so then I was next, and for some reason he chose me, or I was chosen for him. I don't know how that works. I'm sure he can pick who he wants to talk to. Anyway, and so yeah, and he did this big interview with me for was it the Academy Award issue? Or the Christmas issue.
It was the Academy Award.
It was the Academy Award issue 2 years ago.
Sam Kashner?
Sam Kashner.
Yeah.
And he's asking, who's my favorite interview I've ever had? Mm-hmm. And you don't really have favorite interviews.
You love Fred Schruers.
I did love Fred Schruers.
And you love him.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Though I just like to have a little homework to figure out, do more research later. So that's cool.
Fred Schruers is cool.
Yeah. Now, what about bucket list? I heard you say that you wanted to work together with Christopher Walken on a set. You haven't done that, but what about, how have you never worked with Quentin Tarantino? How has that guy never called you? Because I feel like his thing is like grabbing these actors from the 70s and 80s and putting them in his movies and just in a brilliant way, like what he did with Kurt Russell and John Travolta.
So my wife just said, honey, do you want me to explain it, or do you want to explain it? So come here.
Okay. All right. Okay. It's very much on Quentin's mind, and Eric has met with him a lot to talk about it. And now he's doing his podcast and talking about how much he loves Runaway Train, and he brings up Eric all the time. You're right. Eric is, everybody says so, just like the usual suspect for that. So when it came to Django, and also there was another one, the Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Quentin and Eric had a lot of meetings, went through the material, and Quentin has his ways. He wanted, when he went with Don Johnson instead of Eric, it was partly the age, and it was also a certain vibe and a certain just kind of who Don was. There was one time when he wanted Eric, but he wanted him to be very, very animated and angry. Then he wasn't sure if he wanted that. So it's just been creative, but I have a feeling now with this project he's working on, it may very well happen. So we are friends, and there is a huge mutual respect there. And his casting director, Vicki Thomas, is a really good friend of ours. So that's definitely on the radar. I wish Quentin heard all the times that people say what you just said.
I just think, I look at Quentin Tarantino is probably my favorite director. I'm just thinking this would be a perfect fit. I'm like, how's this never happened? I had to go back and look. I was like, had to make sure. Wait, he never did like a small cameo or something? I'm like, no, it's got to happen though. Yeah, he's only doing one more movie, right?
Well,
yeah, he's doing one more movie. He's working. He's in pre-production on his final now, supposedly.
Yeah.
So Eric was going to take over for him when he did Wait Until Dark on Broadway. And then they closed the show before we had a chance, but we were with Quentin talking about the role, and we went to see him in it.
That's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I'm glad you're here for this next question, because it was your advice that you gave to Eric. Treat every person like they could be your boss next week. So I guess the question is, to follow up on that, how do you deal with difficult personalities working in the business? Because any business is going to have difficult personalities, but you always hear stories, especially about Hollywood. Now, I've done like over 300 of these interviews. All the musicians and actors and comedians that I've had on have mostly just been amazing, very happy, but there's got to be some people that are difficult to work with. How do you deal with that?
Well, the thing to do is you got to keep your side of the street clean. You have to be able to review the day. And if something's echoing in your head,
that's the long and short of it. Just keep your side of the street clean.
Yeah.
No matter what is on the other side of the street, wave to it. It's okay. Let it go on. Just keep your side clean and be entertained by the other side of the street. It's okay, whatever happens. You don't have to support it, but I'm a great audience. Yeah.
But is there a limit to if it's directed towards you, if the people are being nasty to you and saying things, like, how do you just smile and walk away?
Towards us is not so bad. If somebody's being a bully and picking on someone not their own size, like let's say a star being mean to a crew member, then we have said something, but in a gracious way, because when it's resonating in your head later, you don't want echoes of yourself making you cringe at the other guy, but you do have to stand up for people. So if somebody's being rude, but we really have encountered so little of it, it's shocking.
There's not a lot of it on set.
It's really amazing. But you'd say it in a kind of compassionate way. Just like, hey, I think that really hurt his feelings, or else you just do it by example. You present something, but in a positive way, and hoping that they're going to pick up on it.
Like when you stop child abuse.
Yeah, it's very similar to intervening in a child abuse situation. You have to do it where the parent feels supported, but also you open their eyes, and there's a limit to the support.
You don't make it condescended to.
Yeah. Another thing I was going to ask you about for advice is just like, I heard you tell a story about when you tried out for Raising Arizona. It was you and Nicolas Cage, and you showed up and you were high as a kite. And then through therapy, you kind of learned that maybe you did that. You were kind of hoping to be rescued. So how could we as people, if we have friends with substance abuse, or if somebody's listening has substance abuse themselves, how do they recognize that kind of thing in themselves or in other people, that they're trying to be rescued? What do you think the signs are there?
Here's the bottom line to not answer your question, but a backdoor way. And the bottom line is this. You're talking about an industry that is based on time and money. Time and money, you have this much money for this much time. You can't have an employee who gets high. It's not acceptable. It's not practical. It's not smart. So you don't do it, unless of course you're John Belushi and the whole movie is his. Okay, you put up with it, but that's rare. and he ends up dead, by the way. So it's not a happy ending. But it's not, and you learn that you nobody's going to do you a favor of what you left undone for yourself. And
But to answer, because you're asking a very specific question, which is a really good one, and it's not often asked. I think we all have to assume that denial is part of us about everything, because it's a defense mechanism to keep ourselves from being so freaked out by ourselves. And so if you really start, and if we're talking to people who may have a problem or know somebody who has a problem, you start every day and a couple of times a day, just saying to yourself, what am I bullshitting myself about? What am I in denial about? What would someone else say if they saw this? And in terms of sabotaging the really good opportunities, in order to because you don't like yourself very much, and in order to, feel deserving, and in order to get some help and to look for rescue, I think that, again, it's a matter of self-analysis, just looking to see how much of the bad old days you're repeating, your earliest days. What am I doing now? Because it is true. I've seen actors do this where when the stakes are the highest and there's the most reward possible, that's when they will show up late, resist direction, and you're just like, oh wow. And so I think if everything you do, you put the words "I want" in front of it, like let's say that you're it's like, oh my God, I'm so drunk and I have this thing to go to. So if you instead say, I want to be so drunk and have this thing to go to, then you can look at that and you're not going to get away with it, because obviously it's the wrong thing to do. So just put "I want" in front of anything.
Wow, that's really good advice. And I like what you said too about the not bullshitting yourself, because that has nothing to do with substance abuse too. That could just be normal everyday things. Yeah.
Anything. It can be thinking that, oh, it's California, I don't need a coat, and going out and freezing your ass off.
We do 3 days a week.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I'll be fine. And then we go to set and he's like, do they have a warm-up jacket? And I was like, you had your coat at home. You're in denial.
Yeah. Wait, okay. Stick around for this question too. This is a good one. The family gatherings because your family, you're both in the business, your daughter's in the business, your stepson, your sister. What is it like at a family gathering with all you guys? Is this like crazy behind the scenes stories, or do you just not even talk about entertainment business at all? And it's just like pass the potatoes.
We do like potatoes. My daughter haters most of those things. So
you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that are very successful. So you got 5 people with 5 incredible schedules. We do not hang out. I mean,
you do sometimes.
I have one of my daughters, lives across the street with her wife and 2 of our granddaughters. And we only see them 30 times a year. You would think we'd see them 300 times a year. Okay. We don't. Okay. It's just how it works. And she and Julie have a relationship with their fingers. I mean,
he needs email. No, but
yes.
When Keaton was playing on Ellen, and Julia decided he should get his hair cut by Serge, her guy who's fantastic. She was very excited. He got the haircut. Serge sent us a bunch of pictures, and then we watched together on the phone. She was watching and I was watching when Keaton came on. We were so excited. It was absolutely no different from if neither of us had ever been on TV or ever even seen a TV. So pretty much, it's a good question. Every once in a while, you kind of freeze the frame in your mind and you realize, oh my God, this is kind of rare that, for these people to be all together and just talking about work and stuff. But for the most part, you talk about it, but not in any way. You're not starstruck with yourself at all. So it just feels like hanging out with anybody. It's really hard to kind of wrap your mind around why. I was looking for a message from Eric's first cousin, who has a heavy Southern accent. yesterday to use it. I was coaching one of our students because we do a lot of acting coaching, and she's Russian. She needed to hear an American Southern accent. So I was scrolling through my messages from Mickey Rourke, David Duchovny, Chris Daughtry, whatever. And I'm scrolling through my messages and she's like, wait, hold on. Oh my God. Right. And I wasn't thinking about it. I was just scrolling through my messages. And the only one that really stopped me was one from my mom because she passed away and I had saved this message. So you kind of can't fathom it one way or the other. It becomes what it is, which is very much more flimsy than it looks. Right.
It's not an issue. It's not important. It's not on your mind ever.
What's going on?
And except when somebody points it out, you go, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the family, I think it's cool. The family business, I mean, I think that would probably apply to a lot of different businesses. If parents had a steel business and their son goes into the steel business or whatever. But I wanted to get your thoughts on like Jamie Lee Curtis. She just won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. And I started hearing the term Nepo baby. And I don't really like that term because you can't help who your parents are, right? And so what did people expect to do? Jamie Lee Curtis to not go into acting and then deny the world 45 years of amazing acting and entertainment? I mean, I feel like that would be more of a sin than her going into acting. I was happy for her. What are your thoughts on that, though?
You said it up front. You can't. You're not responsible for who your parents are, dude. It's simple as that. And they show you a way that either interests you or it doesn't. And if it does, it's a wow thing. And if it doesn't, it's an FU thing, and you go a different way. It's just how it always works. And I just have always loved the theater, basically because it was a way to learn lines and not stutter, because I had a bad stutter.
Right.
It was a freedom for me. It was a luxury. And I just love learning my lines.
Yeah, that's such an inspiring thing about the stutter. I know James Earl Jones had the same thing. And I mean, it's so crazy to think of that because he's hired to do these voiceovers for CNN and such. But he started with a stutter. It's crazy.
Yeah, James Earl and I have worked together 4 times. Yeah.
Did you guys share that story with each other, or did you?
Oh yeah, we've shared humiliating experiences about being a stutterer and what those losers put us through. Yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah.
And that helps kind of motivate you in a way.
It's just fun after the fact because we're both so healed from it. And it's like, oh, remember that one happened. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And it hurts so bad. Oh, I know. Yeah, blah, blah. Because we're such survivors of that crap. That's just a little bitty vein of an existence for us now.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I know you obviously couldn't watch every movie that you've been in, but sometimes I think I heard you say that you sometimes hide out in the movie theaters and watch people's reactions to your movies.
Sure. Yeah, that's when it's really fun, especially in the old days when you would have, when movies would run in a theater for, 6 to 18 weeks, all depending on if it hit, and so you would have all kinds of audiences, that you could go watch it with, matinee audiences, evening audiences, weekend audiences, weekday audiences, and they're always different. And sometimes they loved you, sometimes they did not, but it was just fun, and it's everybody's dream, at least through me. You only see the world through yourself, but through me, it's everybody's dream to be a movie star. Oh my God, to sit in the theater and to watch your movie with an audience reacting to you, but not know you're there is the most calmly, satisfyingly powerful feeling there is.
Well, yeah, because you're inspiring people, you're moving people either to laugh or to cry or you're scaring them. And I would think the comedy ones would be the most satisfying to hear people laugh. Because when you're doing a comedy on film, does the crew laugh, or how do you know if it's funny if there's no audience?
Well, the only time I ever had a crew applaud me was in the Pope of Greenwich Village, when I come in after losing my thumb, and I did the first walkthrough, and then we shot it. And I got the applause. We shot it again. I got applause again. And then we did pickup shots. It was done in 2 takes. And that is the only time it's ever happened to me. And it was the most humbling, satisfying, emotional, moving. I can call it up right now and just sob if I wanted to. It was the most incredible moment of my film career. And I was with a friend of mine. I was with a guy in Mickey who, you know, I told him the night before, look, you have one line after my first page of dialogue. I got to get it because it's a transition to go into my second page of dialogue. You got to give me that line when you're supposed to. Okay, no sweat, Ace. Okay. We show up, we're having a rehearsal. He doesn't know his line. Go learn your freaking line. I'll be in my trailer till he learns his freaking line. It's the only time I acted like an actor with Mickey. And I did acted like an actor. And he learned his line, and I came back and we knocked it out. But you know, I had to have that structure. You know, this has to be done properly. But because once I cut loose on that speech, I'm loose, dude. So I got to have that line where it goes. But you know, we fell in love on that movie, he and I. You know, and we never fell out. And you know, he's a great actor, dude.
Yeah. Well, didn't you did another movie with him called Night Walk, and then I heard you saying that maybe they were talking about doing some sort of sequel to The Pope.
That's been talked for 30 years, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did a movie that I'm proud of because of how I changed the character called Spun. You know about Spun?
Oh, yeah. That was with Patrick Fugit. There's like an all-star cast on that one about the meth heads.
Great in that movie. I know. Yeah, that's a good ass movie. They offered me that part. The director says, "Look, I've like seen your body. Do you stay in shape?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He goes, "Because you have a good body, right?" I said, "Yeah." He's okay. I want you without your shirt. I want you to have girls. I want to be a stud. I'm like, you know, that's been done a lot. I don't mind doing that. But let's go the opposite. Let's go where I'm, you know, very effeminate. I have on ruffles and I have boys. And he says, "I love that idea." and he let me do it. And you know, because, you know, and everybody was so happy about me and Mickey being, you know, reunited, as it were. But you know, he's so good in that movie. God, he's brilliant in that movie. And when he blows up at the end, oh my God. I mean, I know Mickey, I know the movie, I was in the movie, blah, blah, blah. I know his career, I know Michael, blah, blah. I cried at the end. I mean, he blew up. Oh my God, it killed him. I just sobbed. And I know it's not real. I know Mickey's going to be over in a minute if he wants to be. You know, I know, but it just, the acting and the movie making was so good. Oh my God.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. So many things that you can be inspired by, music, films, and do you read books too?
I have a 5,000 book library. Music. Let's talk about music. Keaton Simons.
Keaton, your stepson.
My favorite singer-songwriter happens to be a relative. Yes. It's very convenient. No, and he is. And I didn't expect him to ever be. But he is, and he's my favorite singer-songwriter. And I've probably seen him live, I don't know, 300, 400 times. And
wow.
He's incredible, dude. I mean, and he opened for Eric Clapton last year. Now he's with now he's playing for Brett Young. And he's just a winner, dude. He's just a brilliant talent. And I'm very proud to be related to him.
Yeah, I would love to have him on the show. I listened to his music. I was like, oh, this really is good. Yeah, I'll have to try to get him on my show.
After you hear his music, you want to know him. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, thank
you. Now, you talked about doing a book about your life. Is that coming out anytime soon, or is that something like later down the line?
Everybody's always saying, "Hey, I got to do a book." I don't know. You know, it's such a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also, you know, I like feel old these days anyway. If I were to do a book, I'd feel really old. I don't know. I'm scared of that shit.
Of getting old?
No, books.
Yeah. Well, God, you have such a career. There's got to be so many stories. You just want to make sure it's all documented. I guess some of it's in podcasts and interviews.
Yeah, but you want it all in one place. It's true.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That's really cool. Well, I know I probably got to let you get going because you're doing a million other things. I always end each episode to promote a charity. Is there a charity that you've worked with or that's?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I know you do that, which we love you for. Naturalchild.org.
Okay.
It's Natural Child Project. It's an incredible charity. And it's all encompassing. It really has to do with parenting and children, and it's incredibly compassionate. And they do a lot of good in the world. The Natural Child Project.
Okay, perfect. I will put that in the show notes. Anything else that you want to promote here at the end?
Well, of course, the kids, Keaton and PI Bake Shop on Instagram. Okay. And no E, PI Bake Shop. And then, of course, Keaton Simons, which you can find anywhere.
Emma Roberts, of course.
Well,
yes, your daughter. Yeah, it's so funny. I was looking up and I was like, oh, I didn't realize he has a daughter, Emma. She's the girl from We're the Millers. And I tell my girlfriend, she's a little more hip than I am. She's like, yeah, Emma Roberts she's kind of famous. I was like, oh. And then I looked at all the credits. I was like, okay, yeah, she's doing okay. So that's great. Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it so much.
Yes. Yeah, this was very fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. We'll get this episode up soon. Thank you so much.
Peace out. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. My thanks again to Eric and Eliza Roberts. Just wonderful people doing great things. Follow them on Instagram. Support them by seeing Eric's movies. There's a lot to see there. Support their son, Keaton Simons, by checking out some of his music. He's very talented as well. And of course, their daughter, Emma Roberts. She's an actress, and you can support the show here by sharing this episode on social media. Even just a like or comment helps the algorithm so that more people will see it. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you watch or listen. And if you can give us a rating or review, that will help too. I appreciate all your support. Have a great day. Shoot for the moon.